The worst side of South Korea often revolves around its societal pressures, including intense academic and career competition, leading to high stress levels and mental health issues. Gender inequality and conservative social norms also persist, affecting LGBTQ+ rights and societal inclusivity. Environmental challenges such as pollution and sustainability issues underscore developmental strains. Political tensions both internally and externally, along with labor rights concerns and income inequality, further highlight areas needing improvement. These facets collectively shape a complex narrative of challenges amid South Korea's rapid economic and cultural evolution. Number 1 is anti-gambling laws. South Korea has strict laws against gambling, with the exception of a few designated locations. Online gambling is illegal, and there are severe penalties for both operators and participants. South Korea has stringent anti-gambling laws that restrict most forms of gambling within the country. Here are some key points about these laws. Legal framework. Gambling in South Korea is largely prohibited under the Criminal Act, Chapter 23. The law prohibits various forms of gambling activities, including casinos, with limited exceptions, online gambling, and most forms of sports betting. Exceptions. Despite the general prohibition, there are a few exceptions where gambling is allowed under specific conditions. Punishments. Engaging in illegal gambling activities in South Korea can result in significant penalties. This includes fines and imprisonment for both operators and participants. Online gambling. Online gambling is strictly prohibited in South Korea. Public attitudes. The strict anti-gambling laws reflect broader cultural attitudes towards gambling in South Korea, where gambling is often associated with social problems such as addiction and financial hardship. Number 2 is military service. South Korean males are required to complete compulsory military service, which can be seen as restrictive due to its mandatory nature and its impact on personal and professional life. Military service in South Korea is compulsory for all able-bodied male citizens, typically starting at the age of 18. Conscription. South Korea operates under a conscription system, meaning all male citizens between the ages of 18 and 28 are required to serve in the military. Purpose. The primary purpose of mandatory military service in South Korea is to maintain national security and defense against the threat posed by North Korea. Conscientious objection. South Korea did not formally recognize conscientious objection until relatively recently. Previously, individuals who refused military service for reasons of conscience faced criminal penalties. Impact on society. Military service is a significant aspect of South Korean society, with the majority of male citizens fulfilling their obligation. Number 3 is censorship laws in South Korea. Legal framework. Censorship in South Korea is governed by several laws, including the National Security Act, NSA, the Act on Promotion of Information and Communications Network Utilization, and Information Protection, Information and Communication Network Act, and the Broadcasting Act. National Security Act, NSA. The NSA is primarily aimed at maintaining national security against North Korean espionage and subversion. In censorship, the South Korean government has mechanisms in place to censor online content that is deemed illegal or harmful. This includes blocking access to websites that distribute illegal content, such as pornography, gambling, or pro-North Korean propaganda. Media regulation. The Broadcasting Act regulates television and radio content to ensure it adheres to certain standards of public decency and national interests. Cultural impact. Despite censorship laws, South Korea has a vibrant and diverse media landscape, including a strong tradition of independent journalism and creative expression in areas such as film, music, and literature. Number 4 is corporate hierarchy, chaebols. The dominance of large conglomerates, chaebols, in the South Korean economy has led to criticism of their influence and the sometimes rigid corporate culture they foster. Definition. Chaebols are family-owned or controlled conglomerates with diversified business interests, ranging from electronics and automotive to shipbuilding and construction. Some well-known chaebols include Samsung, Hyundai, LG, and SK Group. Ownership and control. Chaebols are typically controlled by founding families through complex ownership structures involving cross-shareholdings and subsidiaries. In market dominance. Some chaebols have been accused of monopolistic practices that stifle competition and innovation in certain sectors. Labor relations. Chaebols have been involved in labor disputes over issues such as working conditions, job security, and wage levels. Reforms and regulations. Over the years, South Korean governments have implemented various reforms to address issues related to chaebols, such as improving corporate governance, increasing transparency, and promoting fair competition. Number 5 is strict drug laws. South Korea has very strict drug laws, with severe penalties for possession and use of even small amounts of illegal drugs. Zero-tolerance policy. South Korea maintains a zero-tolerance policy towards illegal drugs. This possession of even small amounts of illegal drugs can result in heavy fines, imprisonment, and deportation for foreigners. That any amount of illegal drugs found in possession can lead to criminal charges regardless of the quantity. Severe penalties. Penalties for drug offenses in South Korea are extremely harsh. Criminalization of marijuana. Marijuana is strictly prohibited in South Korea, both for recreational and medicinal purposes. Mandatory drug testing. There are instances where individuals, including foreigners, may be subject to mandatory drug testing, especially in certain employment sectors or if suspected by law enforcement. Stigma and social consequences. Beyond legal penalties, individuals caught using or possessing drugs can face severe social stigma, which can impact their personal and professional lives. Extraterritorial jurisdiction. South Korean authorities can prosecute their citizens for drug offenses committed abroad, which means that South Korean nationals using drugs in other countries can face legal consequences upon their return.